Hello and welcome to Craft with Sarah and day 19 of the Christmas Craft Countdown, where I'm sharing a brand new Christmas themed craft project with you every day for 20 days. Today we are making bunting. Here's my Mary. I've also got a Christmas, which was a little bit too big to fit into my camera shot, but you can see some pictures of it hanging up in my living room now on the screen. The best thing about this bunting is it's fully customizable. It comes without the letters in the middle of each of the triangles, so you can make it say whatever you want to. I'll show you how to do that in Cricut Design Space, as well as some handy tips and tricks for getting the sizing right to make sure that it's perfect for what you want it for. Today's project is really more of a cutting project. We're going to be a lot of intricate cuts with the Cricut to get all of these lovely, lovely pictures. There's not an awful lot of sticking together, so long time to cut, quick to put together, but you can bring it out year after year for gorgeous handmade bunting to hang in your home. Let's get started. The files for this project are free for the next 24 hours. Here's how to download them. Register a free ticket for the Christmas Craft Countdown at craftwithsarah.com/Christmas25. After registering, you'll get an email which contains a link to the schedule page for the countdown. Visit the schedule page to find and download today's files. Each download is only available for free for 24 hours after it goes live. If you've missed some, check out the Instant Access Bundle at craftwithsarah.com/Christmas25 bundle, which gives immediate and ongoing access to all of the files from the Christmas Craft Countdown, plus loads of extra bonus designs. Or purchase just the design from this video at craftwithsarah.com/products. To find the designs from this countdown, click into the Occasions filter and choose Christmas. The designs will appear here each day once the free versions have expired. The download comes in a zip folder. You need to unzip this before uploading the SVG files into your cutting machine software. For instructions on how to use the cut files, visit craftwithsarah.com/help and choose Cricut, Silhouette, or Scan and Cut. Within there are dedicated help guides on topics such as how to upload SVGs, how to modify them to make custom projects, framing tips, and how to cut cardstock with your type of machine. If you have any questions, email hello@craftwithsarah.com. Now, on with today's project. This is what the bunting file looks like when uploaded into Cricut Design Space. All 5 of the designs load in as one single SVG, so you only need to upload one file. The size when it loads in is 12 by 12 inches. That's the size for everything all together. The bunting itself is the same as you saw in the previous clip of me showing it to you. If we ungroup the layers by pressing the ungroup button here, or at the top of the layers panel, although that may not be there by the time you see it, as Design Space is having a few little updates at the moment. Click on Ungroup, and that will separate them out. You can then click one of them to see the size. So mine, I cut out at this size, which is 4 inches wide and 3 3/4 inches tall for all of the triangles. If you want to resize, then the easiest way to do that is to check your size first before cutting everything else out. That way you can make sure you're absolutely happy. So we'll click on one of these and duplicate it. And then everything else, drag a box around it, group it together with the group button here, and then in the layers panel, click the eye that appears when you hover to hide it. We'll come back to that later. For this one, I'll ungroup the layers, click the top one, whichever decorative pattern you did, it doesn't matter, and delete it. Then you're just left with this base piece. Nice and simple and easy to cut. You can then change the size. Maybe you wanted to do 5 inches wide. I then recommend cutting this out so that you can see in your hand exactly how big it is. It's so much easier to tell that you've got the right size if you do a quick test cut first. It can be from any old scrap of card from another project, or even just a piece of printer paper, something super simple, but you really don't want to cut out your entire bunting and then realize it's the wrong size. So do this first and just double check. You could even try a few different sizes. For example, we could duplicate this again and maybe do one at 6 inches as well, and then you could choose which one is your favourite. Let's pretend that we like the one that's 6 inches wide. And delete those and turn this group back on. Click it and ungroup it. And then press Ctrl and A on your keyboard if you're on a Windows computer, or Command and A on a Mac. That will select everything. Then press Align and Center. That will put all of the bits of bunting one on top of the other. Then, with them all still selected, change the size to whatever it was that you said, 6 inches, and all of them will change in proportion. So we've now changed them all to 6 inches wide, which means they're all exactly the same size. However, I am going to cut mine at the original size, so I'll just undo that to put them all back. Once you've got your size sorted, then you can add your letters into the middle of each of the bits of bunting. I'm going to do mine to say Merry Christmas. First, get all of your triangles in order. So I could go M, E, R, R, Y for Merry, and then I'll leave that for now before I do the Christmas so that I can get all the letters in that one, and then I'll duplicate them. Then I should just have to change the letter for the other ones. Zoom in quite a lot to make it easier to see what we're doing next. Click into text and type out the first letter of the first word that you're doing. So for me, that's a capital M. And we'll change the font to something. We want it to be nice and thick and easy to read and easy to cut. I'm going to use a Cricut Access font, but if you don't have Cricut Access, you can click on System over here on the top to show the fonts installed on your computer. And I like this font right here. It's called BFC Foxy. It works really well for this bunting as it's nice thick letters, so easy to cut from cardstock. They're nice and clear, easy to read, and they're kind of playful and nice. They fit with the theme of all of the images. I'll add this over here, drag it bigger. A recent Design Space update introduced something called Snap to Grid. I'm moving my mouse a little bit, and you can see that rather than resizing this kind of as I go in a smooth motion like it used to do, it now resizes in certain jumps. You see it jump, 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 jump. And also when you're moving things about, it also jumps and snaps into alignment, which can make it really hard to do projects like this because it just doesn't quite move as you want it to. If you're like me and you're finding it difficult with the Snap to Grid on, then you can turn it off. Woohoo! I love it when something new comes in and we have the ability to get rid of it. To do that, click on your name over on the top right and then press Settings. Go to Canvas, and then at the bottom where it says Snap to Align, change it to No and press Done. Now, when I click and drag, it's doing it nice and smoothly. I can make it any size I want to. It's not snapping it to be those certain sizes it was doing before. And now I can move it wherever I want to as well. So much easier when you're customizing a project. Drag your letter so that it fits nicely in the circle and it will be touching the circle on top in various places. Click the bunting and ungroup the layers. Then click on your new letter and change it to the colour of the top of the bit of bunting. If you don't do that, when you join them together, it can turn the background black instead of the letter to the right colour. Click your letter, press Shift on the keyboard and choose the outline. Make sure you've got the top layer, which is the patterned one, selected, not the solid colour underneath. Then click the pencil icon along the top to open the More Tools menu and press Unite. That will join the letter to your top. You see they're now joined together. The beauty of Unite is you can still move it about. So for instance, let's say I wasn't happy with the position of that M. I can click into the chevron icon in the Layers panel, click on the letter, and then make whatever changes I want, click away, and it will rejoin them. In reality, I wouldn't want to do something like this because the only place the M is now joined is that top left, and it would sort of hang there and be very weak along that top. So I do want it to touch these bottom bits. I just wanted to show you what happens if you move something in a Unite. Click away and it will join again. To do the next letter, click your first one and duplicate it, and then drag it out of the Unite, because now we're moving on to the next letter. Double click on the letter, type out your next one. Make it the same colour and ungroup the next bit of bunting. You may need to move the letters about so they're not exactly the same size on every single bit. It doesn't really make a difference. It doesn't notice that they're different sizes. But if you keep it the same, you'll find that some won't touch in enough places and it'll be a bit fragile. And then select both of them. I've still got my left menu open, but if you didn't, click the pencil again and Unite. So that's joined my E to my gingerbread coloured layer. And then duplicate one of the letters, doesn't matter which one, and do the next one. Trying to make it join in several places. And I haven't dragged that out the Unite. There we go. Make it my dark yellow. Ungroup the bunting. Select the dark layer and my text and Unite. And you would then continue for all of the different bits of bunting. When you get to the point where you need to add new letters, decide the order you want to do them in, and then you can start duplicating. I'm not going to do all that in this video because you'll just be watching me do exactly the same thing again and again. Let's just say that I wanted my next bit of bunting to be the bells design. Click and drag to select both those layers, the yellow at the bottom and the one on top, and duplicate it. Then you can click into the text and change it to something else. Let's say a C for Christmas. And because you've already done the Unite from before you duplicated it, all you need to do now is change the letter, perhaps change the size, click away, and you see it's already in there. So the first 5 take a little bit longer. Any you do after that will be quicker. You can change the colour of any of them at any point by clicking on the Unite and changing the colour in here. Perhaps we want to do a purple. And then you can find the bottom layer, change that too if you want, so you can end up with something really custom and completely multicoloured. I'm going to go and pause my video now, get my Merry Christmas looking exactly as I want it, and then I'll show you what it's like before I cut it out. Here is my Merry Christmas all ready to cut. I zoomed out quite a long way just so that you can see the whole thing. I've kept exactly the same colours for all of the different times that each one appears. I just thought that's how I personally preferred it, but of course you could do whatever colours you want. You zoom in a bit so you can see better. Got our Merry along the top, and then CHRISTMAS. Yep, double check I've got it spelt right. That is looking all good. I grouped all of my bits together after I'd done them. So I've got my Unite in here, and then the coloured layer underneath, because I was getting a little bit confused about which bit went with which. If you want to do that too, so let's pretend that your layers are all separate like this, so now it's not in a group. To group it, drag a box around the bits you want to keep together, and then hit the group button underneath. You don't need to do it, it just makes your project look a little bit neater. You could go one step further by naming your groups, by double clicking and then typing in. You can see mine are not in the right order because as I click, it's going all around the different parts of the design. It doesn't matter what order they appear in on the screen, that doesn't affect how it cuts out, but if you're coming back to this at a later date, it might be an idea to move things about so that it spells out your word in the order, but say it's just personal preference. If you like your files to be neat, you don't have to do it at all. When you're ready to cut things out, press Make over on the top right. Now I'll separate out all the colours for you. You can change the paper size in here, and if you want to, you can click and drag to move things about to take up less space. I like to rotate this round, pressing Shift on the keyboard to get it exactly the other way up. And then I don't know why it's decided to now put that on another sheet. We can move it by clicking the three dots, Move Object, choose the same colour and press Confirm. And again, just make sure nothing overlaps. So I could get all three of those on there, and then I'd have all of this bit left to use on another project another day. When you've got all your sheets of paper, don't worry if there are any that are now empty, because they'll disappear on the next step. Press Continue to connect to your Cricut and follow the on-screen instructions to get everything cut from cardstock. The cutting for this project is absolutely what takes the longest. This is one of those projects that's very quick to actually put together, but takes a very long time to cut. So you might want to go and get yourself a little bit of a cup of tea or a coffee or your favourite beverage of choice while you wait. Here's one of my pieces of bunting done, the one underneath and then the decorative bit on top. I've used loads of glitter and shiny card for all of my bunting. I've got the other ones here so you can see the colours. My gingerbread men, I've got a rose gold mirror card and some glitter underneath. And then for the blue sequins, it's glitter underneath and blue mirror card on top. The same with the gold, glitter underneath, mirror card on top. And for the red, I've got a sparkly white glitter and then mirror card red. And just like I said at the beginning, this project is really about just having some time with your Cricut, cutting it out and getting to know Design Space a little bit better by adding in the letters. There's really not a lot of making to do. What we're going to do is glue the top bit onto the bottom bit. And that's kind of it. Now, when you're doing this, don't add any glue to the back of the letter itself, because that's going to go over the hole, so it doesn't have anything to stick to. You can go as far as the ring, the circular ring, around the letter, but you don't need to do any more than that. And then this sticks right on top. Lines up exactly. Get your holes nicely lined up. And that's it. Super easy. Then follow that through for all of your bits of bunting until they're all stuck together. I'm doing my bunting to go in front of my TV stand, which means if I had it saying Merry Christmas all in one long line, it wouldn't fit, it would be too long. I'm going to do Merry on one bit of my ribbon and then Christmas on another, and then kind of stagger them on the TV stand so that the Merry will sit above the Christmas. I'm using this ribbon. It's kind of made out of paper. It's quite unusual. It's really for wrapping presents rather than doing anything else, but I didn't have any other ribbon that was thin enough to fit through the little gaps. Zoom out, this will probably be easier to see. I've already strung the Christmas together, which is why you can't see it here, but here's what I'm going to do for the Merry. There are probably loads of different ways that you could put your bunting together. So if you'd rather do it a different way, absolutely do that. What I'm going to do, start with the first letter, my M. Oh, I just pulled those two apart where the glue wasn't quite dry. With all the others, I did them a couple of days ago, so they'll be really dry. I don't think I need to wait. I think it'll be all right. Okay, I'm going to come in from the back. Pull my ribbon through. It's only just small enough to fit through these holes, but it'll be okay. And then go through from the front on the second hole and pull through. It's a bit of a guessing game on how far along you need to put it on your ribbon so that you've got enough room for all the letters. You also need to remember to add room either side to tie it up. I'm going to pull quite a bit through. I should have let that glue dry. It's coming apart as I pull it through. I think still a bit more. Okay, no, I think still a bit more. My TV stand hangs quite low, so I think I'm going to need quite a bit either side to tie it up. I think that's probably on there enough. Okay, so next up, my E. Do the same thing. Come in from the back to start with. Pull it through. And then go in from the front for the second hole. And then carefully pull it all the way through until it's next to that M. If your ribbon is quite tight on the holes in the bunting like mine is, be careful when you're pulling it that you don't kind of jam it through, because that could rip the circles of cardstock. There's my M and my E, and then I will repeat exactly the same thing for the other letters. I've now got all of these tucked in together, and I want my letters to be quite close to each other, so I haven't added too much of a gap between them. You can make yours larger if you prefer. I've got a good amount still coming off the end, which will be handy for tying this around my TV. So I just need to make sure I've got a similar amount the other side. Better to have a bit too much than not enough. And snip that. Then this is ready for me to hang up on my TV table to go with the Christmas that I've already done. Here's how it looks on display with the Christmas underneath. I love that this brings so much colour and shine and glitter to my TV stand. I did take the TV off just to film this to make it extra pretty for you so that you wouldn't see my reflection in the TV, but normally there would be a TV on top here instead of quite so many gnomes. But don't worry, even when the TV is out, the gnomes have other little places around the house for Christmas. I hope that you enjoyed this video on how to make amazing custom bunting to hang in your home this Christmas. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel for loads more Cricut crafts and Christmas SVGs. I hope to see you tomorrow for day 20, the final day of the Christmas craft countdown. But for now, thank you so much for watching. Bye!